Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your man, Sean Patel, hanging out at a festival here in Vegas. I guess about the Pioneers or something. My wife took me, so here we are having fun. But anyways, just watched Diego Pacheco here at this cookout, this event. And, man, good performance. Good performance. I think, first of all, it was his first fight with Buddy Mcgirt. I once asked Diego after he decisively beat So Cold Steven Nelson early last year in 2025 about his jab and about how he doesn't impose it and make the most of it at his size, at 6'4", at 168. And tonight in that first fight with Buddy Mcgirt, it was the most imposing his jab has looked. He's never had a really imposing jab at 6'4". He's always been a tall guy with a good uppercut, can run you into a good hook. Mexican kid from South Central, not afraid to get his hands dirty a little bit on the inside. But tonight, in the first 5 or 6 rounds, he really used his length in a better way than I've ever seen him. Buddy Mcgirt's instructions were excellent. He said, don't go looking for the knockout, let it come, break him down, work, fight behind the jab. That was a lot of his intention early. And then Buddy said, when he gets close, after the first round, he told him, when he gets close, keep your hands close to your body and don't let him wrestle with you on the inside. Don't just tie him up because he's the shorter guy who would seem to have leverage against you being a taller guy on the inside. Work the body when he gets close, and don't let him rough you up on the inside and make it ugly and clinch on the inside. And Diego started listening to that and started having great success to the body, but he stayed with the jab in the first half of the fight. And then in the 6th, 7th, I think it was the 7th, he started to feel like the jab has done what it needed to do. He didn't get away from it all night, but he dispatched of it a little bit more. And he started giving Aleem his own medicine, leaning on him, pushing him back, working his body, smothering his punches, and then picking his spots to work to the body. And his body work was excellent in this fight. Excellent body work in this fight. And then he still dialed up the jab enough to control the fight in other spots apart from the inside. Now, a couple things to work on still. Andre Ward always talks about body language in boxing. And I think his body language, it wasn't as consistent as, the elite fighters you want to strive to always get to that level of. Elite fighters, they look the same each round after round, regardless of distance and situation in the fight, unless, of course, they're hurt and need to recover. But his body language at times wavers, gets a little bit more limp. He started to look at times in the second half of the fight like he was laboring through rounds. And his conditioning, he was throwing good combinations in this fight. It's not like he was fighting at a bad pace at all, especially at 168. But as the fight went on, he was fighting in spurts more and more. And there was moments in the 9th and the 10th, in the 8th and the 7th where he may have been able to put it together a little bit more consistently and get that fight stopped a couple rounds sooner. But he does stop him in the 11th round. His uppercuts were nasty. And he mixed in some hard combinations to keep hurting Aleem. Aleem, a lot of pride, a lot of heart, clearly didn't want to get stopped. Towards the end of the fight, was just fighting on pride to get to that distance. And Pacheco closed the show. He needed to close the show. And by closing the show, he one-ups Lester Martinez, who's pretty good, and got a fair bit of deserved praise on Pro Box in that decisive 12-round win over Aleem. Pacheco one-ups him. So Pacheco was this guy coming in, if anything, losing a little bit of stock, being looked at as mid, right? Okay, he's tall, he's not easy to beat, and he's undefeated, got a nice record on paper, but he's mid, and Sheeraz would beat him, and he just wasn't making believers out of people with his performances. He was just winning. Tonight, he didn't just win. He got the stoppage. He finished the job. He showed some growth in his first fight in Buddy Mcgirt in the areas we talked about earlier. So Lester Martinez is regarded as good. Rightfully so. He is good. And Diego Pacheco one-ups him. So they got to keep working on the things touching on earlier, the body language, the conditioning, keep growing under Buddy Mcgirt, keep improving in all areas, and you never know that this fight, Pacheco and Sheeraz, might turn into the fight. Canelo Alvarez is still obviously by far the money guy in the division, but Canelo's on his way out. He's got 2 fights left with Turkey. We'll see if he gets by Mabili. That's an exciting matchup. We'll see. Bob Arum said he thinks Canelo's going to get knocked out and should be on a golf course somewhere. I still think Canelo being, still might be able to. Every great fighter has one last great fight left in him. I think he might still have one in him for Mabili, who's going to be right in front of him, straight up and down, right in front of him. But Mabili might just be too strong, too fresh, and run Canelo out of there. But anyways, that's for another day, that topic. The long-term picture, the big picture, it may revolve around a fight with Sheeraz and Pacheco, which, yes, Pacheco turned down. And Eddie Hearn was honest this week about, I was a little disappointed he did that, but then I realized it was smart because Pacheco confided to him, I need to get a new team. And Jose Benavidez was the trainer when I asked that after the Steven Nelson fight last year about not imposing the jab. And I too questioned, is this the right fit? Because Diego Pacheco is not David Benavidez. You can't try to get him to fight like a David Benavidez. He needed to fight longer, a little bit more, and make the most of his attributes, which are not the same attributes as David Benavidez. So Buddy Mcgirt was excellent tonight in getting him to grow and use those attributes more. So it was smart of him to not run into that Sheeraz fight, where Sheeraz would be a favorite right now, and now he has time to grow under Buddy, and early returns are strong. So keep growing under him, and before you know it, in the coming future, Sheeraz and Pacheco might be the fight to find out who's the best at 168 in the long-term picture. So, shout out to South Central Zone Diego Pacheco. Keep tightening up, and this was a good performance.